Welcome back. We are excited to have back with us Andy Brewster. He is the minister over at Charlotte Avenue Church of Christ. They have started a campaign that has generated a lot of talk, a lot of questions, if you will, from people out there. The 12 Questions campaign. Andy, thanks for coming on again this morning and talking about it. Kind of refresh people before we jump into our follow-up. Refresh people on what the 12 Questions campaign is.
Okay, so during April and May, we kind of put the word out into especially the Rock Hill community, but even the larger community. If you could ask God one question, what would you ask Him? And we directed people to our website, 12questions.org. We had a lot of questions submitted, and now we've broken those questions down into the 12 most frequently asked questions. And last week we set the stage on Wednesday nights with here's how we're going to answer your question. You've asked spiritual questions, and we're going to answer them with scriptural authority or biblical authority. And then starting tomorrow, we're going to answer one question each Wednesday night throughout the rest of the summer.
Wow.
Yeah.
How was the response to that first, before we jump into some of the questions that were asked?
Right. We had a lot of great questions, and a lot of, especially on social media, on Facebook and Twitter and those types of things, we had a lot of interest that was shown, and the questions were asked, and we had a lot of good and interesting questions that were asked, and a lot of them, while not all of them were specifically the exact same, a lot of them fell into certain categories, and that's what we've broken them down to, is in 12 different categories, if you will, of questions to be answered.
So what will you tackle tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night we start with a question that really affects anybody who's ever lived. God, why do you allow evil and pain and suffering and sickness to exist? Now that's a big topic, so there's a good chance that our speaker in the 45 minutes or so that he'll speak, he won't be able to cover all of that, but he'll cover some of those things. And then we're actually going to have, starting tomorrow night after his lesson, we'll have a Q&A session that you can watch online at 12questions.org, or if you're present, and you can text in questions. We've got a text number. It's 830-ANSWER-9, 830-ANSWER-9, that they can send their questions in. If we don't get to all of them, we will answer them through email or that sort of thing going forward, but we hope people will tune in.
Can you get into later in the month some of the other questions that you'll answer?
Absolutely. On June 15th, so not tomorrow, but next Wednesday, a lot of people were interested in what's heaven going to be like. A lot of people, of course, want to go to heaven, but what's it going to be like? What am I going to do there? What am I going to look like? Am I going to know my friends and my family there? That sort of thing. So we'll answer that question. And then June 22nd, so in a couple weeks from tomorrow, why are there so many churches? And I think that's a question that religious people are interested in. Why? We know that there are just different denominations and different religions and all these things. And God, why are you allowing, or why are there so many churches? We have all these different ideas, and sometimes they contradict each other. So can we all be right, and is it okay if you go your direction and I go my direction, as long as we are all trying to get to heaven? What's Scripture say about that? And that's really the question that we want to answer. And then the last Wednesday of this month, we'll answer one of the tougher questions that was asked, a question about God's character. God, you commanded us, thou shalt not murder, but then in the Old Testament specifically, you told your people to go into the land of Canaan and to drive out the land, drive out those people and kill those people. So God, how do those two things match up, where you told us not to kill people, but then you commanded your people to go out and to drive people out?
So many deep questions. I don't know how y'all are going to answer that in 45 minutes.
Right. It's going to be tough.
It's going to be, but engaging and good conversation.
Absolutely.
And we appreciate you coming on. Tell folks really quickly where your church is.
It's in Rock Hill, South Carolina, on Charlotte Avenue, right down for the street from the YMCA. And again, they can check it all out at 12questions.org.
Awesome. Andy, good to see you again.
Absolutely.
Thanks for coming back. We'll be right back after this break.